Please put your hands together for our business lawyer extraordinaire, Ofer Barlev.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys all had a nice New Year's. I want to just give you a heads up first, kind of who I am and a little bit about myself, my background, and then the firm that I work for, Citron Deutsch. So first, I just wanted to mention, I'm right there in the little, I was born in Israel, which is a tiny little country in the Middle East. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, hopefully. And I moved here to LA when I was 9 with my family. Still miss it, still go back there every couple of years. I still speak Hebrew with my parents. So that's always going to have a special place in my heart. I think that place actually is for everyone to visit. My family, we're all very close. They all live in the valley. I have 2 sisters, they have kids. Super uncle, you know, spoil them. It's great. But then I get to go home and sleep. I just wanted to also give you guys a heads up, kind of like an overview of the law firm that I work for. So I joined Citron Deutsch last year. Citron Deutsch has been around for 48 years. So it was founded by Rick Citron, who graduated right down the street from here, UCLA. And David Deutsch is the other partner, and he focuses also on business. I focus on business as well. Rhonda is our estate planning attorney. Sharona does our intellectual property. I help her with intellectual property as well. And you'll see that plays a big component in business development. And finally, we have Howard Kern, who is our securities attorney. So whenever we have any kind of questions about securities, shares, and membership interests, he helps us out with that. So the what? What do we do? Well, one of the things that we're known for in LA, that we've been doing for decades, is forming companies. So whenever you have a business idea and you have a business plan, some people don't even have a business plan, but they come to us, we help them with a business plan. We help with forming your new corporation or your new LLC. So if you don't already have one, I highly recommend you do that. We had in December a story of basically a client who didn't have a corporation, and we had to basically spend a few weeks after he got in trouble with the government. We had to spend a few weeks dividing all of his assets so that the government can't get a hold of all of his assets. And doing so takes a long time, and the best remedy really is to have a corporation or an LLC for your business, so that the government can't go after your personal assets. That's a very important thing. Funding. So make sure that we have financial projections in place. You know exactly how much money it'll take to keep your business going and not run out of money, because that happens to a lot of founders. Compensation. How do you divide the equity? Whether it's the shares between you and your co-founder, maybe the other people that want to invest in your company. You want to give them shares. You want to give them a note in exchange for some money so that you can pay them back, or they can buy shares later on. We help people out with that as well. We put cap tables together for people so they know exactly where it is. So an investor comes in, wants to invest in your business, he or she knows exactly where you stand, how many shares there are outstanding, how many membership interests there are for an LLC, etc. So hiring. A lot of times people run into issues with hiring. Oh, do we hire this person as an employee or as an independent contractor? And as you'll see very soon, as of January 1st of this year, the new law went into effect, AB 5. I'll go into it in a little more detail. I only have a few minutes. But I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, I'll give you just a quick summary, but you can ask some questions later. Governance. So if you have a corporation or if you have an LLC, you have to make sure that you govern it properly. That means that if you have a corporation, you have to meet on an annual basis, or at least have some sort of documentation showing that you, in lieu of a meeting, you actually had shared some minutes, or you reviewed your corporation files, and that you have the minutes, everything is there properly. Because in the future, even if you have a corporation or if you have an LLC, but you don't stick with you don't comply with the laws that are required, it's as if you didn't have it at all. So someone could just come in and just say, actually, it's such a sham corporation, and so you just wasted a lot of money and time. And finally, intellectual property protection. Does anybody know the difference between a trademark and a service mark? No? Okay, so just quickly, so trademark is for a good, a service mark is for a service. So essentially, you can register both in California, that protects you obviously in California. We can register it for you with a USPTO. But essentially, it protects your service. So someone can just come the next day and create a whole new business identical to yours. Just if it's a protection over your trademark or your service. Copyright is about the material that you have put together. You've spent hours and hours and just countless nights putting together. That's all copyrighted material. So you should have a good copyright in place, especially if you're going to be distributing your paperwork and your literature. Finally, patents. Patents are for your methods, your formulas, things like that. You've really put together, and it's unique to you. I want to go over a little more about just the major laws that are coming down the pike. Obviously, as I mentioned, the January 1st was a big day for California. California a lot of times gives you the heads up that all these laws are coming, and they usually start January 1st. Some laws start July 1st as well. Has to do with the government here in California session. Also on the federal front, there are also some laws as well. So the employee versus independent contractor was big. Minimum wage and pay requirements. You should be able to know off the top of your head how much you need to pay your employee. Okay? Because employees have, not only on the federal front, at the federal level they have a minimum wage, which is $7.25, but in California they have it as well, which is $12. And then LA has its own minimum wage. Okay? Does anybody know LA's minimum wage?
15. 12.
No, but that's $13.25. It's going to $14.25, July 1st. So, and then it's going to $15 as well very soon. So in 2021. So minimum wage is a big component because we see a lot of people suing later on. Oh, you didn't pay me minimum wage, and then you have to go back, and it's like literally every single incident of you not paying somebody enough. So that's something really big that we go into. And then obviously a new privacy law went into effect. That one is the California Consumer Privacy Act. That's huge. That's like California is now leading the fray into privacy. I used to be Europe that had the GDPR, and that was like this big thing, and that was in 2018. Now California is like, is leading. Of course, it wants to be the best. It wants to be the strictest. And so I only have a few minutes left, but I want to just go over what I think is actually the most prevalent, the most pertinent law for all of you, because all of you most likely have people that you hire. Okay, and whether you hire them as employees or independent contractors, it's very important that you do so in a compliant way. So this new law now basically states that all workers you hire are presumed to be employees. Doesn't matter, they're just presumed, unless you prove otherwise. So what happens is, in order for you to classify someone as an independent contractor and give that W-9 to fill out first, and then give that 1099 if you pay them over $600 in a year, you have to prove three things. I'll just go over these three things very, very quickly, but each one of these actually has, I can speak about an entire hour on each one of these. But this person has to be free from your control and direction. So when you actually hire somebody, you can't tell this person like when to come and go. That's basically what this thing means, okay? So essentially it's like a plumber that comes in, or an electrician, they set their own hours, right? They can come in and just tell you, I'll be there between, this time and this time. Next is a worker performing the work that's outside the course of your business. So if you hire someone and he's doing exactly the same work that you were doing, that's going to be outside the course. It has to be outside the course of your work. If he's doing exactly what you're doing, he needs to be an employee. Okay. Finally, he has to be customarily engaged in a trade. So for instance, like an attorney, a consultant, etc., etc. So I want to just go over a couple other things. I obviously set this thing up for an hour-long seminar, but I only have just a few minutes. So obviously, as I mentioned, this new we have minimum wages that have to be paid for employees. If you're a founder, you also have to be paid a certain amount. People don't usually comply with that. As I mentioned, the county of Los Angeles is minimum wage as well. The $15 an hour going in 2021, but it's in July it's going to be $14.25. So it's just around the corner from us. There's a lot actually to cover, but I'm not going to go through all this detail. What I will say is that what people oftentimes, when they come to us and they say, okay, is my business going to be successful? All of our decades of experience, we use all of that, and we help you with that. We give you strategy. We tell you, okay, what problem are you trying to solve? What problem is being solved with your business? Next is that they have failure to launch. So they actually have these great ideas, and they just want to get in there, but they just want it to be perfect. And we help them to just kind of we give them a little push to not seek perfection and actually launch and be successful. And finally, just maintain your momentum. Choose the people you work with very carefully. And we use all our experience as well to really help you with that, to make sure that's going to be a great synergistic relationship. So I've run out of time. but I can take a question or no questions.
No,
'Cause
but
we have
I want Ofer to look
full slate.
at. I want Ofer to look at this room. You did great. Everyone's looking at you. Give Ofer a hand. Ofer Barlev, our business lawyer, right here.